Hi, ladies. Shalom, shalom. I am going to be putting out a video this week called Should We Store Food? And even though it comes across as a question, it's only designed to show us the need and actually the mandate from the scriptures as women to store food, especially in light of this newest situation with the EBT scenario that's playing out before us. It's quite obvious that this is something that, as the light of the world, as the people of Elohim, we should be using wisdom and, storing, and not only for ourselves, but also for anyone who may be in need. So I just want you all to just especially pay attention to the numerous scriptures that I will be sharing with you. It's not my opinion, even though I do have an opinion, but my opinion is based on what I have seen in the word of Elohim. So I ask that everyone would take a look at this, take a hard look at this, no matter where you are on the spectrum of storing food, study the scriptures, and hopefully this is something that I would love for us to be able to come together and discuss. And I welcome the opportunity to learn from each and every one of you as well, as hopefully you can pick up my own understanding and my own experience on this topic. So I look forward to seeing what you all think, hearing your thoughts on this, especially now very, very vital topic that's before all of us. Shalom.
Shalom, everyone. This is Nava. Today, let's talk about should we store food? During a Midrash study last night, our community was just having this very conversation, and everyone had amazing points that they made, and it just got me thinking, and I remembered this teaching about this very subject from Mother Nancy Campbell from Above Rubies, and I would like to share it with you today. And it's called, again, Should We Store Food? Adonai will command the blessing on you in your storehouses and all to which you set your hand. In the word of Adonai, we see two different attitudes toward providing food for our families in the word. Number one, no worries. Matthew 6:25 says to take no thought for your life, what you shall eat or what you shall drink, nor yet for your body what you shall put on. Is not the life more than meat and the body than raiment? Read the whole passage to verse 34. Read also Luke 12:29, Philippians 4:6, and 1 Peter 5:7. This is an important principle. We are not to worry about the provision of our food for our family or providing for hospitality. Romans 14:23 exhorts us, whatsoever is not of faith is sin. Number two, no laziness. We've established that it is sin to worry about how we will feed our family. We should trust Adonai. However, in doing this, we should not sit around doing nothing, waiting for provision to fall from the sky. Over and over again, the word of Adonai exhorts us to work hard to provide for our food. The important point is our attitude. We either work with an attitude of despair and constant worry, or we work with an attitude of hope, trusting ultimately in Adonai's provision. And there are several scriptures that I will be reading to you from the Renewed Covenant. The first is Ephesians 4:28. Let him labor, working with hands, the thing which is good, that he may have to give to him that needs. 1 Timothy 5:8. If any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. 1 Thessalonians 4:11 and 12. Aspire to lead a quiet life, to mind your own business, and to work with your own hands, as we commanded you, that you may walk properly towards those who are outside, and that you may lack nothing. 2 Thessalonians 3:10 through 12. For while we were with you, we gave you this charge. If anyone does not work, then he should not eat either. For we are hearing that some of you are living in idleness, not working, but busy in other people's affairs. Such persons we direct charge in the Master Yeshua Mashiach, that by doing their work quietly, they earn their own living. Let us go to the word of Adonai again, shall we? The scriptures show us clearly that the Father's ways of provision is seed time and harvest. He expects us to work hard, sow the seed, cultivate the plants and trees, and then harvest the food and crops to last until the next harvest season. This is not radical. This is normal living. This is a God-given principle. This has been God's way since the beginning of the world. This has been the way of mankind for generations and generations until our modern computerized high-tech society. In this generation, we do not have to rely on seed time and harvest because we have the supermarket that has everything available every day and all year round. However, if that crutch was taken away from us for a season, what would we rely on then? We would have to go back to Abba's original plan. Genesis 8:22 says, while the earth remains, seed time and harvest, in cold and heat, in summer and winter, in day and night, shall not cease. Jeremiah 5:24, he reserves unto us the appointed weeks of harvest. Deuteronomy 11:13-15, and it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love the Lord your God, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that thou mayest gather in the corn and the wine and thy oil. Leviticus 26:10, you shall eat what had long been stored, then clear it out for the new. The Good News Bible explains it well. Your harvest will be so plentiful that they will last for a year, and even then you will have to throw away what is left of the old harvest to make room for the new. This scripture, which speaks of Adonai's blessing, shows us that the children of Israel stored their harvest to last for a year until the next year's harvest. When Adonai blessed them, they had more than enough to last for a year. The word store in the Hebrew here is yashen, which means old or that which has remained long. Just a minute, you say. You were talking about storing your harvest to last through the winter. What about praying for your daily bread? Yes, that is true. We are exhorted in Matthew 6:11 to pray daily for our bread. The reason for this is that the wheat had to be ground daily to make the bread, because it was not refined and had the germ of the wheat still in it. It would quickly go rancid if left. But even the wheat and barley they ground daily was taken from the storehouse. We see from the word of Adonai and from history that this is a normal way of living. Although we do not need to rely on it in our computerized age, it still has advantages. When we have food stored, number one, we always have something on hand to share with guests who arrive unexpectedly. Number two, we have something on hand to give to a family who urgently needs provision of food. When Abba is talking to the Hebrews about their slaves, he says that after 6 years, they are to release them to freedom. More than that, he says, when you send them out, don't send them out with nothing. Deuteronomy 15:14 says, you shall supply him liberally from your flock, from your threshing floor, and from your winepress. From what Adonai has blessed you with, you shall give to him. He gave him out of his store. If he had stored nothing, he would have nothing to give. Number 3, we have found available in times of emergencies, earthquakes, snowstorms, hurricanes, tornadoes. We will have food available. Number 4, we do not have to get into a state of worry because even if lean times or traumas arise, we are prepared to feed our family. This actually relieves stress. And the question is asked, can we survive on stored food? If we did face a situation where we could not race to the supermarket and get whatever we needed, how would we survive? What if we could not get fresh fruit and vegetables daily? We see a very interesting scripture in Leviticus 25 where Adonai proclaims the principle of the Sabbath rest for the land every 7 years. Every 7th year, the land was to have complete rest. They were not allowed to plant any seeds. They were not allowed to harvest grain that grew by itself. They were not allowed to gather the grapes from the unpruned vines. The food that grew of itself was to be available to all servants, strangers, and wild animals. How then could they survive without planting and harvest? Adonai knew that they would ask this question. Let us read in Leviticus 25:20 through 22. And if ye shall say, what shall we eat the 7th year? Behold, we shall not sow, nor gather in our increase. Then I will command my blessing upon you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth fruit for 3 years. And you shall sow the 8th year, and eat yet of old fruit until the 9th year. Until her fruits come in, you shall eat of the old store. The children of Israel ate stored food for nearly 3 years. Obviously, Adonai knew that they could survive and keep healthy even on stored food. He promised them that if they would obey his law, that there would not be one feeble person among all their tribes. Eating stored and sun-dried food was part of their lives. Can you imagine how hard they would have to work? It is a tiring job to harvest and store enough for 1 year, let alone for 3 years. But I am sure that it would have been a wonderful time of shouting and rejoicing. They would also need to have lots of extra room to store all this food. We read in the scriptures how the prosperous kings of Israel built storehouses for all their excess grain and wine and oil. Let's look at the scriptural examples. 1 Chronicles 26:15 through 17. Obed-Edom's sons looked after the storehouse of the tabernacle. Also 27:25 of 2 Chronicles. David's overseer Asmavet was in charge of the royal storehouses. 27:25 in the same book again. David's overseer Jonathan was in charge of the storehouses in the country, in the cities, in the villages, and in the towers. 27:27 of the same book. David's administrator Zabdi had charge of the produce of the vineyards, stored in the wine cellars. 27:28. David's overseer Joash was in charge of the stores or the cellars of oil. 28:11 and 12 of 2 Chronicles. David gave his son Solomon plans for the storehouses of the house of Yahweh and for the storehouses of the dedicated things. 2 Chronicles and 1 Kings 9:19 and 2 Chronicles 1 Kings 9:19 and 2 Chronicles 8:4 and 6:15. Solomon built many store cities. 2 Chronicles 11:11. Rehoboam fortified the stronghold and put captains in them, and store of victual and of oil and wine. 2 Chronicles 17:12. Jehoshaphat waxed great exceedingly, and he built in Judah castles and cities of store. 2 Chronicles 31:11 and 12. Hezekiah gave orders for the people to bring in food for the priests and the Levites. As soon as the order went out, the Israelites gave generously of grain, new wine, oil, honey, and from the crops of their fields. They brought so much that Hezekiah gave orders to prepare storerooms in the temple of Adonai, and this was done. Conaniah, a Levite, was in charge of these things. 2 Chronicles 37:28. Hezekiah had exceeding much riches and honor, and he made storehouses also for the increase of corn and wine and oil. 2 Chronicles 16:4. Because the store cities and storehouses were so important for the survival of the people, when Ben-Hadad came against the cities of Israel, he captured all the store cities of Naphtali. This strategy would cause the people to starve. Jeremiah 41:8. 10 men saved their lives by exposing food they had stored in the fields. Do not kill us, for we have stores of wheat, barley, oil, and honey hidden in the fields. And of course, we're all familiar with the story of how Abba told Joseph through a dream to store up food for 7 years. Also Genesis 41:36, that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine. Genesis 41:56, and the famine was over all the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians. The storehouses became the survival of nations. The Hebrew word that is used for the store cities is miknah, which means treasure. Wow, that is exciting. Their store of food that they put away became their treasure. Without it, they would have starved. Psalm 144:11 through 15 gives us a beautiful description of a people who are blessed of Adonai. One of the blessings is that our garners may be full, affording all manner of store, or as the Living Bible translates it, barns full to the brim with crops of every kind. The blessing of Adonai is having enough from the harvest to store for the coming year, enough to last until next harvest. This kind of living enables us to be generous and bountiful with others as well. Let us turn now to the famous blessing chapter in the Word of Adonai, Deuteronomy 28:1 through 8. Adonai says that if we hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh, thy Elohim, to do all his commandments, that he will command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses. Let us see what Adonai's word says about working hard to provide our food. Proverbs 6:6 and 8. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provides her meat in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. Some translations say, ponder the ant. Proverbs 6:8 says, the ants labor hard all summer, gathering food for the winter. Proverbs 10:4, he becomes poor that deals with a slack hand. Proverbs 10:5, he that gathers in summer is a wise man, but he that sleeps in harvest is a son that causes shame. It's also repeated in Proverbs 20, verse 4. Proverbs 22:3 repeats in Proverbs 27:12. A prudent man foresees the difficulties ahead and prepares for them. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences. Proverbs 28:29. He that tills his land shall have plenty of bread. This is repeated in Proverbs 12:11. Harvest time is such an important time in the year that it is a time of greatest joy. Isaiah 16:9 and 10 intimates that it is a time of singing, shouting, and joy. Note this, storing food is biblical, but hoarding is evil. Yahweh's word shows us clearly that it is a normal way of living to store food with the motive of not only feeding our family, but also feeding whoever else we can. However, if we store food with the motive of hoarding for ourselves only, we are out of Yahweh's will. That is all I have time for today. I hope you were blessed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Until next week.